This is much the greatest thing we have ever attempted.
You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade. Your task will not be an easy one.
I wasn't yellow, but I was scared. I was scared to death.
After the ordeal of Dunkirk, Britain struggles on. Despite the support of American industry and resources, there is little optimism from the battlefields. The disaster of the fall of Singapore in February 1942 and the surrender of Tobruk in June bring the darkest days of the Second World War. But in southern Russia, Hitler's armies are being bled dry in a vicious fight against the Soviet Union. As 1942 wears on, the German advance in the east slows. The diary of an infantry officer.
It's terrible here. Russians resisting hard. They're getting reinforcements all the time. One of our companies wouldn't fight. Very shameful. Every single one of us is tense.
By February 1943, the once invincible German army will be defeated at the Great Battle of Stalingrad. Allied confidence grows. Then, at long last, a victory for Britain and America in North Africa. General Alexander in a telegram to Prime Minister Winston Churchill.
Sir, it is my duty to report that the Tunisian campaign is over. All enemy resistance has ceased. We are masters of the North African shores.
At home, a new mood of confidence galvanizes the nation. A survey of public opinion carried out by mass observation.
The general picture is one of considerable optimism about future developments in the war. A successful outcome is expected by the overwhelming majority.
Housewife Margaret Compton.
The outcry for a second front in Europe grows and grows. There are meetings about it in Trafalgar Square, speeches all over the country. Strike in the West. Start a second front now. But the government reveals nothing of its plans.
But secret planning for a major assault on Western Europe has begun in earnest. Throughout 1943, the Allied leaders meet in a series of conferences to plan the route to victory. Churchill and US President Franklin Roosevelt confirm the Germany First policy, convinced that Japan will capitulate after Germany is defeated. General Alan Brooke accompanies Churchill to the Casablanca conference.
The back of the work here is broken. and thank God for it. It has been one of the most difficult tasks I've had to do. Although our discussions have become somewhat heated at times, our relations have never been strained. I hope we shall leave here with a more united outlook to the war.
During the conference, the British persuade a reluctant United States to begin the assault on Europe in Sicily, before an attack on occupied France. Churchill's strategy to strike at what he calls Hitler's soft underbelly in Italy postpones the invasion of France for almost a year. But it buys vital time for the build-up of resources and manpower. In July 1943, British and American troops successfully land in Sicily. Hitler's ally, the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, is overthrown. Italy soon surrenders. Churchill and Roosevelt now turn their attention to preparing for a massive invasion of France within a year. A report of the Combined Chiefs of Staff Quebec Conference, August 1943.
This operation will be the primary United States and British ground and air effort against the Axis of Europe. Following the establishment of strong Allied forces in France, operations designed to strike at the heart of Germany and to destroy her military forces will be undertaken. We have approved the outline plan for Operation Overlord.
As the plans for the Allied invasion of Europe are being laid, the United States Army Air Force and the Royal Air Force carry out massive day and night bombing raids over Germany. A directive issued by the Combined Chiefs of Staff.
Your primary objective will be the progressive destruction and dislocation of the German military, industrial and economic system, and the undermining of the morale of the German people to a point where their capacity for armed resistance is fatally weakened.
Len Hadland on night bombing duty with the RAF.
Having seen my name on the battle order, I once again experienced that awful tension which comes with knowing what we might be up against. And the possibility that we might not return.
The Allied aerial bombing campaign is relentless and brutal. Among the British people, memories of their own horrific experiences during the Blitz evoke sympathy for German civilians from some, but none at all from others. 2 anonymous contributions to the Mass Observation Survey.
They didn't think twice when they bombed us. All's fair in love and war.
I feel terrible when I think of what those poor bastard women and children must be going through. I only hope that what they say is right.
and all the kids have been evacuated.
November 1943. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin enters strategic discussions with Churchill and Roosevelt at the Tehran Conference. U.S. General Dwight D. Eisenhower.
This is much the greatest thing we have ever attempted.
You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade. Your task will not be an easy one.
I wasn't yellow, but I was scared. I was scared to death.
Two years after the ordeal of Dunkirk, Britain struggles on.